Okay, to start from where we stopped in the previous class, the first thing we are going to talk about here is the pocket. The pocket for this hybrid trouser is just like the normal pocket that we did when we were working on the elastic band trouser. It's just for you to measure 14 inches by 14 inches. When you fold it together, that means you have what? You have 7 inches by what? 14 inches. Then you just curve. You just use your scissors. You just use your scissors to curve the lower part of the pocket. Just have a curvilinear part here. So once you have that, you've gotten this. The next thing you are going to do is the attachment of this part, because you observe that the pocket, had it been that we are using this fabric to cut out our pocket, you will not need the attachment of this. The reason why we are attaching this is that the material is not enough, and as such we need this to be on the outer part where they are going to see. Okay, just like so. This should be placed here at the tip. Here you have this place. We are going to sew it. We do this so that when you are putting your hand into the pocket and the fabric for the pocket is not exactly the main fabric, they will not be seeing Ankara outside here, but what they will be seeing is this part. So that's why we are adding this, because this is the mouth of the pocket. This is the mouth of the pocket for the left. This is the mouth of the pocket for the what? For the right. So with that being said, what we are just going to do is to sew down this part before we now attach to the hybrid trouser we are working on. You remember the slant we have here for our pocket slant? To make this part stronger than any other part of the trouser, to make the mouth of that slant stronger, we need to place our we need to place our soft stay around this edge. So we'll measure like 2 inches of our soft stay and place it here. We'll now use this our notch to notch the stay also, so that by the time we bend it, we'll have our trouser, our pocket mouth for the trouser slanted just like so. So once you have attached the stay like so, the next thing for you to do is to notch this slanted part and this part on your stay. So you cut off the excess you have here. Then you do the same for the upper slant here. Remember, the notch here will just be tiny, just like so. So that by the time you are slanting here and you are slanting here, these 2 points, you can now see that it's more grippy. Let me remove this background ironing stuff. You can now see that it's more grippy here. So you can just place your iron on this to make it more firm. So you have this as your what? As your slanted pocket mount. So the next thing is to repeat the same for the other side. Okay, so with that being done, we have the two sides ready. This is the pocket slant for the first, and this is the pocket slant for the second, right here. Okay, so once we are through with the affixing of our stay to each of the sides of the slanted pocket mount, the next thing we are going to do is to pick up our pocket inner. Now this should be facing this side. Once this is facing this side, that means that we are working with the trouser leg that is going to be what? Facing this side. And remember, it is the reverse part of this pocket that we are working on here. Now, what determines which of the trouser leg that is going to face this side or this side is depending on where your pocket placement is. You know, this side is the flap. This is where your pocket slant will be. So you don't expect to be sewing this way. You don't want to be sewing like this. So since you are going to be sewing this way, that means this is where your pocket is going to face. So the next thing is, these are parts that you have already ironed. Please take note of this. Ensure that you get your gator line on this slant well pronounced, because this means a lot. This means a lot when you are sewing the pocket to the main panel of the front trouser. So what you are going to do now is to open this part up. By the time you open this part up, you locate the edge of the pocket mount, because that's where you are going to sew on. You are going to sew on the edge of this pocket mount. So once you've ensured that they are equal, like so, the next thing for you to do is look at this slant. You are going to place your needle beside this slant. You are going to place your needle very close to this slant edge and sew around this way. By the time you sew diagonal like this, you open it up. Before you open it up, you use this notch part to notch here also. Immediately you notch, then you raise this up and cut off the excess that you have here. So let's just do that now. So you can see what I'm saying. I did not sew on this edge, I just sew close to that edge, so that by the time you are folding it in, your sewing is not showing here. So the next thing to do is to notch this part here. You know, you've already notched the trouser, so it's just for you to notch this part here. Then once you notch this part, raise this upper part of the pocket up and cut off these excesses here. Okay, once you have that done, the next is to now work on your inner this way. Bring out your pocket this way, place this slanted part here like so, then you sew it down. But mind you, if you have your whipping machine around, you can just whip this edge before you now use your machine to sew down. And if you like, you can take this in, you can just hem this edge here and sew down. But for this particular one, I'm just going to sew straight. Okay, once you've taken this down, the next thing for you to do is just to take in your pocket in like so. By the time you take in your pocket in like so, the next thing you see is that the part of this pocket, the inner pocket that will be visible when you are putting when you or your customer is putting their hands into the pocket, it is the exact material that will be showing. It's not the ankara or the pocketing that you are going to use. So with that, you have your smooth edge this way. Now, just for you to cross-check and be sure of what you are doing, you remember that when we are trying to achieve our slanted pocket, what we did was 2.5 inch cut here, and we notch at 7 inches here. So you just come here and measure. By the time you measure, you discover is your 2.5 inches you are still going to arrive at. So that means you are okay. Now the next thing for you to do is, at this point that you have this your first notch, you just come down a bit from this notch. You can come down by maybe 1/2 inch. You can come down by just 1/2 inch and notch. You come down by 1/2 inch and notch. See my 1/2 inch here. Depending on how much you want to come down, you can even come down by 1 inch. So let's just go down by 1 inch. Let's go down by 1 inch and notch. When you are notching, you are not notching on your fabric, you are notching on the pocket inner. You understand? So you just notch by just notch. All you just have to do is this, just notch by 1/4 inch. Okay, so the next thing we need to do, once we have our pocket placement this way, the next thing is to what? To place our machine on and sew down this part, so that by the time we are working on the pocket, it's not wobbling. So with that being completed, the next thing we are going to do is to work on this pocket mouth and notch. So since we have already notched this part, the next thing for us to do is to bring out this right side of your fabric out like so, and you locate the notch part on both sides. Just locate the notch part on both sides like so. Once you've located the notch part on both sides like so, you remember that this is the right side of your fabric that is out. You just place your machine and sew round. Okay, so once you have completed this part, the next thing for you to do is what? To take it in like so. When you take it in like so, you can see that's balanced up back. The wrong side is outside and the right side of your fabric is what is going to be showing inside. So the next thing to do, once you've turned it in out like so, you place your machine and sew the second time on this curved part. You have it out this way, so your first upper part of the leg is ready. Then the next thing, since we've taken this place down, the next thing is to take this place down also. So you can see our slanty pocket is ready, so we'll just repeat the same on the second leg before we start joining. Okay, so once you have the two legs this way, the next thing is to fit our zip. So the first question is, which part of this leg is going to have our zip? It is usually the right side of the leg that will be housing this zip, which is this. This is the right part of the leg. This is the left side. So it's this part that will house the zip. Okay, so immediately you've attached your pocket. The next thing to do is to work on the zip part of your fabric, and as such, you look for this part of your trouser that you've notched, this notched part, this part that you have notched, and this part here. Just flip it over to the wrong side, then make sure that the notch part at the top here correspond with this bent part here. Then you place your iron on it. Just iron to give you that's your needed lines. Next thing to do is to measure half an inch here and bend it like so. So you bend in your ½ inch inward like so. Once you bend it in, you place your iron once again. You place your iron over it like so. The reason why you are doing this is for it to house your zipper that you need to put inside. By the time I flip it over, you understand what I'm talking about. By the time I flip it over, see what you will have here. Next thing to do is to measure ½ an inch here and bend it like so. So you bend in your ½ inch inward like so. Once you bend it in, you place your iron once again. You place your iron over it like so. The reason why you are doing this is for it to house your zipper that you need to put inside. By the time I flip it over, you understand what I'm talking about. By the time I flip it over, see what you will have here. It's either a ash zipper or a black zip. So it's just for you to place this in here. So with this, you can see that your zipper is already what? It's going to be concealed like so. So you sew in your zipper and you bring the other side. But let's complete with this side first before we move to the other side. The next thing you have to do is to what? You sew on this part of the zipper, just downward. You stop your sewing here. Okay, so let's just do that. So once you've sewn down this part, the next thing you are going to do is to move to the second leg of your front panel of the trouser, which is this. And here, this is what is going to house the coverage of this part. This is what is going to cover this other edge of the trouser. So how do we arrive at this? Just like we did for the first, all you just need to do is to iron in this part, just like so. Look for the notch part and iron the edge inward. Once you've ironed this part and you have bent it here, the next thing for you to do is to open it up like this. Once you open it up like this, you will now use this straight line to gauge your bending here. It is that your straight line that will guide your bending here, and you will also iron. You iron it down to give you the expected fold. So once you've ironed it down like so, the next thing for you to do is what? You bend it once again. And when you bend it this time, you also iron. With this, you have gotten like a 3-layer bending here. So it makes this part thicker, relatively thicker than the other part of your trouser. Okay, so once we have our triple layer fold this way, the next thing for us to do, when you flip it over to this right side, is just for you to extend it by 1 layer out like this. At least you've seen the gator part of this. So this will inform the placement of the other panel of your front leg. So the next thing for you to do is to ensure that right side is facing each other, just like so. The right side is facing each other. Then you ensure that at this flap point they are equal here. Once they are equal at this flap point, then you are good to go. Once they are equal at this flap point, you are good to go. Then you ensure that at this point also they are placed equally. So once they are placed equally, another thing you need to double check is this part. This gator part must align to the gator part of the upper layer. This gator part here, you've seen that they've aligned to each other. So that means you just raise this part up, then you sew on this zipper. You are simply attaching the zipper to the flap cover here. So with that being said, please take note of this. It is exactly where you stop the sewing of this upper zipper. That's where you are going to start here. So if you are a newcomer to fashion, you can just use your chalk to chalk this part. Once you have that in place, that means your zipper is already attached to the two sides of the front panel. If you open it up like so, your zipper is already at work. Once you are through with the sewing down of this part, the next thing for us to do is to reverse the placement of this trouser. Reverse the placement of the trouser like so. Immediately you reverse the placement of the trouser like so, you know you have your flap at this point. Just the same way we did our elastic rubber band trouser. You need to sew. It is, if not for this what's it called, if not for this zipper, we would have joined from beginning to the end like so, but because of this zipper, we fix the zipper now. The next thing for us to do is to look at this point here, is to pick this point of the curvature here, and we now sew from this point. We sew on half an inch, following the flap curve this way. But please take note, immediately you place your machine needle here at this point, you need to check on something. This part here, this at the back, when you flip it up like this part here should not be sewn down. So your needle should be at this point. Your needle should be coming out at this point. So you have to really take cognizance of that. Once again, once you place your machine needle on this, just flip this part this way to double check. Then the next thing is what? You can even mark it. You can use your marker to chalk half inch so that you have your smooth curve like so. That will cover for your flap, and that's what exactly I'm going to do now. So you can see that I've already checked it out that it's not seated on the other side of the zip cover here. So you just release your machine footer down, then you sew. Then you sew on that curved line. Make sure that this one is up like so. Okay, so once you are through with sewing this curved line out, the next thing is to open it up. And by the time you are opening it up, you can see that your front panel of your trouser is already well laid, and this is covering up the zipper. So the next thing for you to do is to use your steam iron. Although I'm not using steam iron now because I'm running on gen, is to use your steam iron to iron this part out so that it will lay perfectly well. Please, if you are using rubber zipper, you need to be very careful so that it will not melt.